Hello children, hope you all are doing fine. This is Form 7 Chemistry, topic number 14, Acid-Base Equilibria, Scheme of Work Reference, page number. Now let's look at lesson objectives. You will be understand about Bronsted-Lowry acid and bases, and also you will be able to understand about Bronsted-Lowry conjugate acid base pairs. From this lesson you will understand about differences between strong acid, strong base, weak acid and weak base, and also be able to understand about pH and its calculation, and you will understand about dissociation constant Ka and its calculation, and also you will be able to understand about the ionic product of water, and also you will be understand about analyzing data from pH measurement. By learning this lesson, you will understand about pH curves and acid-base titration, and understand about buffer solution. And finally, from learning this lesson, you will understand about buffer solution, pH curves, and Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. Okay, that is about the lesson objectives. Now let's move to the other slide. Arrhenius definition. An acid is a substance that when dissolved in water increases the concentration of hydrogen ions. Normally we all know this. Examples for acids are hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. And Arrhenius definition tells us the definition about a base. It is a substance that when dissolved in water increases the concentration of hydroxide ions. Example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, so on. Now let's look at Bronsted-Lowry definitions of acids and bases. It says an acid is a proton donor. A Bronsted-Lowry acid must have a removable protein, that means acidic proton. A base is a proton acceptor. A Bronsted-Lowry base must have a pair of non-bonding electrons. If it can be either, it's amphiprotein, that means it can't gain or lose hydrogen ion. Okay, example is H2O, water. Water molecule is amphiprotic molecule. Conjugate acids and bases. Reactions between acids and bases always yield their conjugate bases and acid. This is a small example for this conjugate acids and bases. I will talk about conjugate acid and bases in this lesson later. And in here HNO2 and H2O react to form NO2 minus and H3O plus ions. In here HNO2 is acid and its conjugate base is NO2 minus, like that. H2O liquid is base and its conjugate acid is hydronium ion, that means H3O plus ion. Now let's see what happens when an acid dissolves in water. In here, water acts as a Bronsted-Lowry base and abstract a proton, that means H plus, from the acid. As a result, the conjugate base of the acid and the hydronium ion is formed. Now see, in this reaction, in the forward reaction, HCl is acting as an acid because it is donating a proton to H2O, and H2O is behaving as a base as it is accepting a proton from HCl. The in reverse reaction, the opposite thing is happen. That is about when what will happen when acid dissolved in water. Now let's see what will happen when base dissolved in a water. There also water act as a Bronsted-Lowry acid and donating a proton to the base. As a result, the conjugate acid of the base and the hydroxyl ion is formed. Now you can see in this equation, chemical equation, and the acids and their conjugate base pairs here. Clearly understand about these things. These are very small and easiest things in this lesson to understand. Now let's look about strong acid. What is strong acid? Do you know about that? Okay, this is very easy one. Everybody know about acid. What are the strong acids and what are the weak acid? Now I will give the definition for strong acid. A strong acid is defined as one that is almost completely dissociated in aqueous solution. Here I mentioned some strong acid: HCl, HBr, HI, HNO3, H2SO4, that means sulfuric, SClO3 and SClO4. They are the 7 strong acids. These are by definition strong electrolytes and exist totally as ion in aqueous solutions. For example, here I mentioned the dissociation of HCl. In aqueous solution, HCl is completely dissociates and form H plus and chloride ions. Now think about weak acid. Then what happen in weak acids? Weak acids are defined as that is only partially dissociate in an aqueous solution. Less than 10%. They are not dissociate about 10% also. This is the example of a weak acid, ethanoic acid. You can see the dissociation. When we are writing a dissociation reaction of weak acid, we have to put this type of half arrows for reversible reaction. That's about strong acids. Now let's have a look on strong bases. As strong acids, strong bases are the soluble hydroxide, which are the alkali metal and heavy alkaline earth metal hydroxide. For example, calcium 2+, that means calcium hydroxide, strontium hydroxide, barium hydroxide, like that. Sodium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, all are strong bases. Again, these substances dissociate completely in aqueous solution. Like strong acids, strong bases also dissociate completely in aqueous solution. This is an example for the strong base, sodium hydroxide. In sodium hydroxide aqueous solutions, there are sodium plus ions and hydroxide minus ions. Now see acid and base and their strength. In here there is two series of acids and base. By these arrows you can see they mention the highest strength and lowest strength acids and bases. You can see in this series and try to get an idea about the strength of acid and bases. Okay, now see, strong acids are completely dissociate in water. I mentioned earlier also. Their conjugate bases are quite weak. Weak acid only dissociate partially in water and their conjugate bases are weak bases. Substances with negligible acidity do not dissociate in water. So their conjugate bases are exceedingly strong. Okay. Now let's move to the other slide. Now look at this slide about acid and base strength. In any acid-base reaction, the equilibrium will favor the reaction that moves the proton to the stronger base. Now look at this example. HCl dissolved in water. Here H2O is a much stronger base than chloride. So the equilibrium lies so far to the right that K is not measured. In here K, that means equilibrium constant, is larger than 1. Now let's look at other example. In there ethanoic acid is dissolved in water. We all know ethanoic acid is a weak acid but a strong base. Acetate is strong base. When ethanoic acid dissolved in water, it forms H3O plus ion and acetate ion. In here acetate is a strong base than H2O, so the equilibrium favors the left side. K is less than 1. Okay, that is about acids and base strength and their equilibrium constants and how the position of equilibrium moves between the forward and backward reactions. Now let's look about autoionization of water. As we have seen, water is amphoteric. That means it can't gain or lose electron. In pure water, a few molecules act as bases and a few act as acid. This is referred to as autoionization of water. In here in picture you can see the reactions between two water molecules. It forms hydroxyl ion and a hydronium ion. The hydronium ion means H3O plus ion. That is the result of autoionization of water. Now let's see the other slide. In here I am going to speak about ion product constant of water. The equilibrium expression for this process is Kc is equal to concentration of H3O plus and hydroxide ion. In here we are not taking the concentration of water because it is a constant equal to 1. So we are not mention water concentration of water in Kc expression. This special equilibrium constant is referred to as the ion product constant for water, Kw. In the previous presentation I talked about chemical equilibrium. So in there I spoke about a Kc, Kp like equilibrium constant. In here also in this concept, that means autoionization of water, we have to use the Kc, that means equilibrium concentration constant according to the concentrations. So in here we took equilibrium expression for this process and it is Kc. Common we wrote Kc expression, but this is special equilibrium constant, we have a special name for that, that is Kw. Kw at 25 degrees of centigrade. Kw is equal to 1 to the 1 into 10 to the power 14. That is the value of Kw. Now let's move to the other slide. In this slide we are going to talk about the very important topic, that is pH. Now tell me, have you ever heard about the pH? What is pH? What are the factors affect the pH of the solution? How we are measuring pH? Have you know about those things? Okay, now I will talk this one by one. Now first let's see what is pH. pH is defined as the negative base 10 logarithm of the concentration of hydronium ion. This is the equation. In this slide you can see the equation. I have written the equation in two ways. pH is equal to minus log concentration of H3O plus ion, or pH is equal to minus log concentration of H plus. Don't confuse, H3O plus and H plus is equal. Okay, we can write either H3O plus or H plus, it's no matter. Okay, now let's move to the other slide. In pure water, Kw is equal to H3 concentration of hydronium ion and hydroxyl ion. I mentioned that earlier also. So the value is 1 into 10 to the power 14. So we can measure the pH of the water now. So the pH of water is, we can calculate by this. According to that equation, pH is equal to minus log 10 to the power a concentration of hydronium ion. Okay. Now the pH of the pure water is 7. An acid has a higher H3O plus concentration than pure water, so its pH is less than 7. And a base has a lower hydronium ion concentration than pure water, so its pH is more than 7. That's about pH and pH of the acids and bases comparing to the pure water. These are very common things in you all have studied this thing before also. Now let's have a look on other pH scales. That means now we spoke about pH. In physical chemistry or acid base equilibria, there are so many pH scales. Now let's look at about them. The P in pH tell us to take the negative base minus 10 logarithm of the quantity, in this case hydronium ions. Some similar example are like pH, there is POH, pKw, like that. So we can make expression according to these pH scales. Now watch this. This is very much important thing. I mentioned by auto ionization of water we made an expression to Kw, that is Kw is equal to the concentration of hydronium ion and hydroxyl ion, and the value is 1 into 10 to the power 14. So we know that minus log H3O plus concentration and minus log concentration of hydroxyl ion is equal to log Kw is equal to 14. In that is, there is a mathematical calculation, a very simple one. Or in other word, pH plus POH is equal to pKw. Is for that's value of that pKw is 14. Kw is 1 into 10 to the power 14 minus 14, and pKw is 14. Here I gave a small learning tip. Most of the children are fear about these mathematical calculations about logs. So don't worry about that. Here is a small tip. Please go through that and understand what mentioned there. There is a small calculation about pH. Try to do that one also and find the similar calculation like this and do that and discuss with your friends. Now let's move to the new topic, that is dissociation constant. For a generalized acid, dissociation is like this. For a common, like from common equation, Ha, that is acid, and H2O is reacting together, that is a reversible reaction, and form a minus aqueous and hydronium ion. At the equilibrium, we can write a equilibrium expression. For the common reaction, we are writing using its constant. This is ionic solution, so we can write a equilibrium constant using concentrations of ions. So that is the equilibrium expression, and in here this equilibrium constant is called the acid dissociation constant, and we give a symbol Ka for this constant, that is dissociation constant. In this slide you can see dissociation constants of some acids. In that table you can see, when you go through this table, you can see the greater the value of the Ka, the stronger the acid. So let's move to the other slide. There is a small calculations about Ka, how to calculate Ka from the pH. So there is a question, that is the pH of a 0.1 m solution is formic acid at 25 degrees of centigrade is 2.38. So calculate Ka for formic acid at this temperature. First of all, we have to write the expression for acid dissociation. As we all know, formic acid is weak acid, so we have to write the dissociation of formic acid and the expression for Ka. So to calculate Ka, we need the equilibrium concentration of all three things. We can find a concentration of H3O plus, which is the same as formate from the pH. So this is the calculation. From that we can substitute the concentration to the Ka expression and take the value for the Ka. That's all about the calculation, how to calculate Ka from a pH. Now there is another calculation about calculating pH from Ka. That is opposite side of the calculation. That one also a very easy one. You can go through these slides and understand what I have said there. Here this is the steps. These are the steps. This is the pH value of the solution. In here we took this pH value from Ka value. Now there is a new topic. This is analyzing data from pH measurements. So the first one is comparing solution through pH measurement. Now first let's look at strong and weak acid. In here table A shows the pH of 0.1 mole per cubic decimeters aqueous solution of various acid as 298 Kelvin. Formula of acid is given here and pH of 0.1 m aqueous solution also in here. Now you can see when the acid is weak, decreasing the acid strength. Okay, pH is increasing, that mean pH is increasing mean the strength is decreasing. Okay, that is the meaning about this table. In here table C shows the pH of aqueous solution of various salts of concentration 0.1 m at 298 Kelvin. In there you can see the pH of sodium chloride is 7 because the salt is made from a strong acid HCl and a strong base NOH. The same is true for KNO3. Now think about what are the acid and base there, which is a product of the strong acid HNO3 and the strong base KOH. So an aqueous solution of CH3COONA is alkaline because it is the product of a weak acid ethanoic acid and a strong base sodium hydroxide. Also an aqueous solution of ammonium chloride is acidic because it is the product of a strong acid HCl and a weak base ammonia. So an aqueous solution of CH3COONH4 is neutral because it is the product of a weak acid and a weak base, and the relative strength of the acid and the bases are the same. Okay, that is about salt. pH values of the aqueous solution of salts are according to the acids and base are in that react to form the salt here. So let's move to the other slide. There is a small learning trip. Please go through that. Now let's see effect of dilution on the pH of aqueous solution. In here you can see the concentration series for strong acid, and when the concentration of the acid is decreasing, the pH is increasing. That means the strength of the acid is decreasing. In this table shows that. And for the weak acids, in this table shows the pH of 5 aqueous solution of ethanoic acid. In each case acid has been diluted by a factor of 10 from to 10 to the power minus 4 m. Once again all solutions are at a temperature at 298 Kelvin. So you can see With the weak acid, the pH value increases by a factor of about 0.54 each, tenfold decreasing in concentration. That is about the effect of dilution on the pH. That means the summary is when the dilution is increasing, that means in very dilute solution pH is high, that is acidity is low. That is the brief summary about the effect of dilution on pH and the acidity. Now let's move to the other important topic in this lesson, that is acid base titrations, pH curves and indicators of pH curves. Let's look at one by one. Acid base titration. In acid base titration, you have to learn about so many different words. They are equivalence point, end point, indicators, color changes, so many names of the indicators, so on. So now look at what is equivalence point. First tell me, have you done any titrations before in a AS class or O level class? Okay. So equivalence point is the point in a titration where the moles of acid is equal to moles of base. Try to understand these definitions very clearly, otherwise you will confuse with equivalence point and end point. So the end point is point at which the indicator changes color. The end point and the equivalence point are not always the same, but they should be. Okay, that means in some cases equivalence point and end point is same, but in some cases they are not same. Okay, we have to get and clear idea about these things, otherwise you will confuse when doing calculations. Okay, clear? Okay, now let's move to the other slide. Here in this slide I mentioned what is an indicator. An indicator is used to determine when the acid has been neutralized in a titration. Without an indicator, it would be impossible to know when the titration should stop unless you use a pH meter. Okay, these are the list of indicators in this slide I have mentioned according to the transition pH range, and I gave the colors of the color changes at low pH and at high pH, that means in acidic media and at basic alkaline, that means basic media. So let's move to the other slide. In here hereafter I am going to talk about the titration curves. When in the class when we are doing a practical about titration, we have to draw a graph for this titration. Okay, so first one is titration of strong acid with strong base. Okay, examples, NO reaction between NOH and HCl. In here you can see in this graph the equivalence point is occurred at pH 7. So we have to see the end point correctly and accurately. We have to use a indicator for this titration. So we have to use a titration indicator. Their pH range should be in this area, this equivalence point area. So the bromothymol blue I mentioned here, that is good for this titration. Okay, now look at this titration curve. It is titration of weak acid with a strong base. So example for this type of titrations are uh, titration between ethanoic acid and sodium hydroxide. So you can see in this curve, equivalence point is on above the 7. So we have to choose an indicator according to that pH range, such as phenolphthalein. In this you have to remember the shapes of the curves and the equivalence. What is the equivalence point situated in this type of curves between according to the acid type and base type? You must remember that one, because when you are doing calculation, these things are very much important. And also you have to remember the indicator what is going to choose you in here. When you are doing practicals also, you have to have a clear idea about these things. Okay, now let's move to the other slide. Is that in there titration of strong acid with a weak base. So this is the shape of the curve, and the equivalence point is below the 7. So you have to choose an indicator according to that. Now titration of weak acid with a weak base. This is the curve, shape of the curve. Equivalence point is on 7, pH 7. So now let's look at what is these indicators. What is the theory behind the indicators? So an acid base indicator is either a weak acid or a weak base. Most indicators are weak acid. This is the common general equation of a indicator. We take indicator, the symbol IN for indicator. Okay, HIN. In here I gave the equation as a weak acid. So dissociation of a weak acid I mentioned here. The molecule HIN and its conjugate base IN minus have different colors in aqueous solution. For methyl orange, these are red and yellow respectively. So this table shows the pKa values, pH ranges and colors of several common indicators. In previous slide also I mentioned a list of indicators and their pH range and color changes in alkaline, in acidic media. This is the very common indicators used in the laboratories. These are the now look at how we are choose these indicators. A good indicator shows a complete color change upon the addition of 1 drop of acid from the burette. This is necessary in order to accurately determine the endpoint of the titration. Therefore, there has to be a minimum pH change equivalent to the pH range of the indicator in order for the indicator to successfully determine the endpoint. That is about a choice of indicator. Now let's see the choices of indicators for different types of titrations. For strong acid, strong base titrations, this figure, this titration curve shows the pH titration curves for 25 cubic centimeters of 1 m NaOH and 1 m HCl. The pH range methyl orange and phenolphthalein have to be included. Okay, now let's move to the other slide. In there you can see the pH curve of a strong acid and strong base. For this type of titration you can use phenolphthalein and methyl orange. This is a titration curve of strong acid weak base status. And finally this is the titration curves of weak acid and weak base titration. You can use both phenolphthalein and methyl orange as indicators. Titration with diprotic acids. What is diprotic acid? A diprotic acid is an acid that produces 2 hydrogen plus ions per acid molecules. Examples are hydrochloric acid, carbonic acid, like that. Now here I mentioned the dissociation of a diprotic acid in water. For diprotic acid they have 2 stages of dissociation like mentioned in this slide. And this is the titration curve for diprotic acid strong base titration. There are 2 equivalence pointers, so we have to choose the indicators according to the pH range according to the 2 equivalence point. So now let's move to the topic buffer solutions. A buffer solution is one which resists change in pH when small quantities of an acid or an alkali, that means a base, are added to it. Effective buffers neutralize small to moderate amounts of added acid or base. 2 factors influence the effectiveness. First one is relative amount of the acid at conjugate base, and second one is absolute concentrations of the acid and conjugate base. You have to remember, adding too much of an acid or a base can result in a buffer being destroying. There are so many buffers in day-to-day lives. In a biological buffer, we all know human blood is a biological buffer solution. Like that, find some other buffer solution used in day-to-day life. So how does the buffer action work? This is the small chart about how does the buffer action works. About buffer reaction, refer your textbook. There is a complete this explanation about buffer action. Here is a small review about buffer solution. Go through this and understand what I have mentioned here. So let's move to the other topic, a very important topic, Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. Henderson-Hasselbalch equation can be used to calculate the pH of a buffer solution. The calculation and the derivation of expressions are same as previous one. So for a particular buffer system, solution with the same concentration of A minus and HA ratio have same pH. Buffer solutions and pH curves. Buffer actions during a titration. In here, figure A shows a typical pH curve obtained when a weak acid is titrated against a strong base. So this is the buffer range. You can see, as you can see in this picture. So now let's move to the next topic. Determining Ka from the pH titration curve. When you in your exams you will have a question like this. They will give titration curves and they will mark these equivalence point and everything, and you they ask to find the Ka from the pH curve. So the in here the pKa of the acid is 4.80. so the Ka for the acid is like this. So the I now see the supporting theory for finding the Ka there. Here you can see the theory of that. That is about the acid base equilibria, and you all have to do the questions on your textbook in page number 104 and 105. There are exam practice question. You all have to do that and discuss your answers with your friends. If you have any questions regarding the lesson, you don't worry, you can ask from me also. So these are some references about acid base equilibria. So go to the YouTube and watch these videos. They are very good videos about acid base equilibria, buffer solution, titration curves, and you also find some videos and share with your friends also about acid base equilibria. And that's all for the lesson. Hope you all enjoy the lesson. Thank you.